Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. This evening we have a very well-known Haitian doctor with us today, but not a doctor of conventional medicine, a doctor of Oriental medicine, and she's going to explain to us what that means. You told us earlier that you use needles for acupuncture, but I'm sure that most viewers are scared of those needles. What can you say to us to reassure us about those needles?
What I like to say to people who tell me that they're afraid of needles, I usually say, me too.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. This evening we have a very well-known Haitian doctor with us today, but not a doctor of conventional medicine, a doctor of Oriental medicine, and she's going to explain to us what that means. Valencie Xeus, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me, Kristali. It's really a pleasure. I've been practicing Oriental medicine for over 10 years. Oriental medicine is also called traditional Chinese medicine. It has its origin in China, and there are some books that says that Oriental medicine has been around for more than 2,000 years. Some books say 5,000 years. It really doesn't matter. It's been thousands of years since it's been practicing. One of the main components of Oriental medicine is acupuncture. So most people are familiar with acupuncture, and they're familiar with the fact that acupuncture helps with pain. Acupuncture also helps with a lot of different conditions. In my practice, I treat patients with insomnia, patients with diabetes, patients with high blood pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of the emotional conditions. And acupuncture is really a therapy that is very unique to traditional Chinese medicine. So it's a treatment that's done with very, very thin needles, and we place the needles in very specific points in the body. Those points are called acupuncture points, and we have meridians that travel throughout the body. We can compare the meridians to a highway like I-95 or the turnpike, okay. And each exit and entry point would be considered an acupuncture point. So when someone is sick, we say that there's a blockage along the meridian. And the whole goal of acupuncture is to unblock the channels.
Okay.
Once the energy of the body can flow freely, then the body has the ability to heal itself. That's the traditional Chinese description of acupuncture. There has been a lot of recent research that has been done to explain acupuncture from a Western standpoint. And now we know that acupuncture also helps to reduce inflammation, to increase some of the natural hormones and neurotransmitters such as endorphin, which is the natural painkiller of the body. So in conclusion, it's a very effective ancient form of medicine.
And do those needles hurt?
The needles are practically painless. Most people are very shocked when they come in for acupuncture. They expect that it's going to hurt. They think that it's like if they're getting an injection or if they're donating blood. It's nothing like that. They're very thin, very painless needles. Sometimes we can stimulate the needles for the patient to feel the needle depending on the treatment that we're doing. Once all of the needles are in the body, it's a very, very relaxing treatment. Most people fall asleep or they leave the treatment feeling super relaxed.
And how does a treatment usually go? You put the needles in and then the person just rests?
Yes, typically we would do, during the first visit, a very thorough intake, an evaluation to come up with the diagnosis. Once we have the diagnosis, then we'll come up with a treatment plan, and then we would do the acupuncture. So once the patient has all the needles inserted, it's a very relaxing treatment. The light is dim, there's very relaxing music, aromatherapy, and the needles usually stay for 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay, okay. And tell me, what are the other components of Chinese medicine?
The other component of Chinese medicine, one of the other components is herbal medicine. Chinese medicine is very big on herbal medicine. And one of the big difference between traditional Chinese medicine and folk medicine when it comes to herb is that we focus on formulas. The formulas can have anywhere from 2 ingredients up to 20 plus ingredients. So the Chinese herbal medicine are very different from going over the counter and buying something maybe like garlic or saw palmetto that we know has a specific effect in the body. Those formulas are almost as strong as the drugs. So you have the drug, the Western drugs, and then you have those formulas. They have very strong effect in the body, and they can treat a lot of the common conditions that we are familiar with.
Now, you said acupuncture can treat just about anything. If there's nothing wrong with somebody, would you still tell them that they should get acupuncture?
Definitely, definitely. Actually, those are my preferred patients because it's so much easier to prevent than to treat.
Okay.
So if you're preventing and you're taking care of your body, you're eating healthy, you're reducing stress, you're exercising, and you add acupuncture, it's really part of anti-aging medicine and preventative medicine.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. So among those diseases or conditions that you treat with acupuncture, I heard you also treat erectile dysfunction, diseases and conditions that older people have. What do you treat mostly, and what has the most success?
I treat a lot of chronic conditions in the office, from diabetes to high blood pressure to autoimmune conditions. I treat a lot of women dealing with menopause, and I also treat a lot of men dealing with erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction is linked to a lot of the chronic conditions. For instance, a lot of men who have diabetes also have issues with their sexual functions. So naturally, over the years, as I help one patient, one refer the other, so now I'm actually known in the community as someone who treats erectile dysfunction, and we have very high success rate, and actually have a formula that's over the counter that anyone can order. It's called Toa. And a lot of the men are happy with it, and I have a whole line of herbal formulas that they can combine Toa with those formulas. So for example, if someone is diabetic, they can combine my sugar balance formula with Toa. Or if someone has insomnia, they can combine brain and sleep support with Toa. So there's a whole line of products that helps people dealing with chronic conditions.
And what exactly is Toa?
Toa is actually a combination of 2 formulas that I currently have. I have a formula called pH Peak Performance, and I have a formula called pH Mel Support. So those formulas became very popular, and people would order both of them and get very good results. I combined them and I gave them a name that means a lot to me in Creole. So in Creole, Toa literally means the bull, but it also means the strong one. So a lot of the men, they want to be strong, they want to have vitality, they want to have that feeling of being young again. So after practicing for over 10 years and having so many formulas, I feel very proud to have one of them that actually has a Creole name. And it's very popular in South Florida amongst the Haitian community and all of South Florida, the American community as well.
So how long does someone has to get treatment to get results?
Oh, it varies greatly. It would be like comparing 2 people that have to lose weight. Maybe one person only has 10 pounds to lose and someone else has over 100 pounds to lose. So it really depends on what is going on with the person.
Okay. But it's not impossible after one treatment for someone to feel a difference, is
Oh,
it?
not at all. I've had patients that have come in with migraines or that have come in bent over from lower back pain and they walk out pain free.
Really?
I also, yes, it happens all the time. And I also have patients that require a series of treatments. And there are a lot of patients that come in with anxiety, they're super anxious, super stressed, and one treatment of acupuncture is all it takes for them to feel very calm. And some people have compared acupuncture to the feeling they get after taking Xanax. So it's
Wow.
very effective for anxiety.
So, as a doctor of Oriental medicine, obviously I would expect that that's what you would use if you're not feeling well, Oriental medicine.
Definitely.
Are you against conventional medicine?
Not at all. Conventional medicine has its place. We know that one of the strong points of conventional medicine is diagnosing through x-rays, through blood work, and we also study those things at
Okay.
school. So, for instance, I can send a patient to get an MRI or to get an x-ray. I use a lot of blood work that maybe some of the medical doctors don't even use. One of the tests that I order for the patients is to check the levels of the vitamins and the minerals. It's a very comprehensive micronutrient test. So definitely we believe in integrative medicine. One of the strong points of conventional medicine is treating acute conditions. So if someone is dealing with, let's say if someone's having a stroke or a heart attack, you definitely want to go to the hospital.
Okay.
If you've had a car accident and you're injured, you want to go to the hospital. But once you have a chronic condition, the Western herbs usually just suppress the symptoms. They don't heal the condition. So traditional Chinese medicine and other forms of natural medicine are really great at treating, not just managing chronic conditions.
Ah. Now, you mentioned you have your formulas that patients can combine, etc. So you have your own brand, actually.
Yes, I have my own brand after being in the community for many years and realizing that a lot of people are dealing with those major chronic conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate conditions, kidney diseases, and they really don't know and they're not educated on what to eat, what not to eat. So we have this whole line of herbal formulas that helps them, and they're very easy to combine. So for example, if someone is dealing with issues of low energy and the person is also diabetic, they can combine the optimal energy with the sugar balance. So the name of the formula already tells you what it helps with. And we also focus a lot on lifestyle changes. Every single client that orders from us gets a guide, an eating guide that tells them what to eat, what not to eat in order to be healthy, in order to prevent diseases, and in order to deal with their current condition.
So when someone wants to do acupuncture, you would suggest to them not to just do acupuncture, but there's a variety of things they need to take into consideration, like diet and taking formulas and other things like that. Is that?
Oh, definitely. One of the big things that's going on right now in the world of medicine is cellular medicine. We know that the cell is the body's smallest functioning unit, and everything begins in the cell. So if you are eating a diet that's very rich in processed food and high fructose corn syrup and trans fat, and you're not getting the right nutrients, then most likely you are setting yourself up for chronic inflammation and for chronic diseases. So by eating the right food, by giving the body exactly what it needs, you will start healing the body with food. So we're big at the office on teaching the clients and the patients what to eat, and everyone who works at the office does that.
Okay. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these messages. and welcome back. I remind you that we are here with Doctor of Oriental Medicine, Dr. Valency Exeus. And what would you say to people who don't believe in acupuncture, in Oriental medicine? How can you convince someone?
First, I would say it's not a religion. It doesn't require belief. It's actually a medicine. It's scientific. And I would say if what you are doing is not working, then give us a call. We'll be glad to help you. Because if what you're doing is working, then continue. But for most people, their medications are not helping them. Their lifestyle is not helping them. And so we really help you to make a change and to feel healthy, to regain your vitality. And we also focus a lot on anti-aging.
Is there one bad aspect of Oriental medicine?
When I was in school, one of the things that they told us is that Oriental medicine is so effective and it works so fast that a lot of time people do not really follow through with the treatment plan, because our goal is to treat the root cause of the condition, not just the symptoms. Mm-hmm. So it's so effective at treating the symptoms that a lot of time people don't follow through with the treatment. That it's like, oh, I feel better, okay, I don't need to come up for my next visit.
Okay. You told us earlier that you use needles for acupuncture, but I'm sure that most viewers are scared of those needles. What can you say to us to reassure us about those needles?
What I like to say to people who tell me that they're afraid of needles, I usually say, me too. And I really am afraid of needles, but not the acupuncture needles. The acupuncture needles are so thin, they're so painless, they're so different than the needles that are used for injections and for drawing blood. So they're like the size of a hair. And a lot of time when people watch TV, they usually see exaggerated versions of acupuncture treatments. You'll see very long needles all over the body or all over the face. It's nothing like that in clinical practice. So the needles are very thin. It's a very relaxing treatment. In fact, I would like to invite you to come into the office for a complimentary acupuncture treatment so that you can experience it for yourself.
Wow! That's amazing. Thank you. Yes. Let's take the appointment right now. You know what, camera, you can turn off. Guys, we'll be back after these messages.
Mesdames et messieurs, Alain TV fait beaucoup d'efforts à agrandir son réseau et vous offrir une programmation de qualité. Regardez Alain TV partout où vous êtes. Téléchargez notre application gratuite sur votre téléphone. Pour nous contacter, écrivez-nous à alintv.tv ou appelez-nous au 1-888-816-7174.
I'm Cindy. I'm studying to become an English teacher, and I love Island TV. Why? Because we are the Caribbean. We are Island TV. We need to reveal our fundamental contributions in America. We need Island TV to reveal our different beautiful Caribbean cultures for the world to respect and understand us better. Grow your business while supporting the only Caribbean television station in Florida. Advertise with Island TV.
Welcome back to What's Up Haitian. Thank you all for tuning in. All of you watching from the Caribbean islands, all of you watching in South Florida, thank you again for tuning in. I'm your host, Cristali Parizeau, and I remind you that right now we have a very special guest with us, a Haitian doctor of Oriental medicine, a very well-known doctor in the Haitian community who has her own brand of medicine right now and, does acupuncture, treats various conditions. Can you remind us what conditions you treat again?
I focus a lot on the chronic conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, people dealing with high cholesterol, prostate conditions, insomnia. I also focus a lot on stress and anxiety, people dealing with depression and hormonal conditions. I have a lot of male patients that are dealing with erectile dysfunction, and also I have the women that are dealing with menopause and perimenopause conditions.
Mm-hmm. Most of your patients, are they Haitian?
No, not at all. I actually have been treating all of South Florida for the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. And depending on the media that I use, I attract different patients. I have right now 8 different radio shows that focus on health on the Haitian radios. I'm also big on the internet. My website is actually acupuncturefortlauderdale.com. So a lot of people, when they do a Google search for acupuncture Fort Lauderdale, my site will come up because it's a very popular site. It's been around for almost a decade. And so I treat all of South Florida.
Wow, that's amazing. Guys, so I took my appointment for acupuncture, and I will let you guys witness what acupuncture is all about. So let's continue the show at High Point Healing and Wellness. We're here today at High Point Healing and Wellness, and I'm about to get my acupuncture treatment from Dr. Valency Exeus. Welcome to High Point Healing and Wellness. Hi, I'm here for my treatment. Okay, fill out this form, and the doctor will be right with you. Thank you. You can have a seat. You're welcome.
Hi, Cristali. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm glad you could make it. Come on in. We're going to the room. Okay. So this is one of our treatment rooms, and I'm going to treat you in this room.
All right.
Go ahead and undress and go under this sheet, cover it up, face up, and I'll be right in.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice.
Today I'm going to do a simple stress relief treatment for you, just a general balancing treatment. So we'll do just a few acupuncture points. So the needles are very thin. If anything is uncomfortable, you let me know, but most of the time you won't feel anything, okay? So we'll just start with a few needles. This is the first one. How is that?
That's okay.
The last one, we call it the happy point, and in Chinese it's called yan tang. So this is a very relaxing point. Cleaning. Yeah, don't be scared. It's very relaxing. that's it. Now a special demonstration for a treatment for stress, anxiety, insomnia. This is an ear acupuncture treatment. I'm not saying that you have these conditions, I'm just demonstrating them.
Okay.
So we're cleaning the ear thoroughly. This is a special far infrared light which helps to promote healing in the body. It also keeps the patients warm during the treatment so that they're nice and comfortable. This is a blend, a special blend of essential oil to help the patient to feel relaxed during the treatment, to promote relaxation and to promote sleep. So Crystal, did it hurt?
Actually, no, not at all.
How do you feel?
I actually feel very good, very relaxed.
I'm so glad to hear that.
So people, get your acupuncture.
Imagine it's the near future. You leave your house and the air is clean and fresh. We've cut air pollution and worked together to restore the forests and ecosystems that we've lost over the past decades and centuries. Oceans are healthy again, thriving, teeming with life. Soils have regenerated, bursting with fertility, and producing bigger crop yields for everyone. And as you leave your house, you get in a car or bus that's clean and electric, and it takes you wherever you want to go. And the rooftops of the buildings around you are green and living, all doing their part to keep global temperatures low. So is this some impossible utopia? No, not at all. It's absolutely possible. And we already have the map that gets us there, the Paris Climate Agreement. And almost 200 countries have already signed on. Every 5 years, each nation has to report back on how they're reducing their carbon footprint and what they're doing to keep global temperatures from rising more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. These nations have to show how they are building resilience, saving lives, and protecting property against the increasing number of storms, droughts, and fires and floods. Signing on to the Paris Agreement is legally binding, and no one gets a pass, not even the biggest countries like China, India, Russia, the US, nor the small island states and the rest of the world. The Paris Agreement lets countries chart their own course to net zero emissions. It is up to nations, businesses, and people to find new ways of doing things. Everything from energy creation to transportation, manufacturing, and farming. This will spark a huge economic boom for the rest of the century. And it's already happening. New markets for everything from solar panels, electric cars, and energy-efficient appliances are creating greener jobs everywhere. This is personal for me. I don't want to choke on the air I breathe or see wildfires burning out of control. I don't want a world that is parched by drought. So for me and for everyone, the Paris Agreement is the way forward. This is how we can get to a world free from the threat of climate change. And we can definitely do it. We know it's in our grasp. So, let's keep working together. You too can protect what is left and repair what has been damaged. So help me spread the word by posting your support of the Paris Agreement. Thank you.
Esse tráfico de escravos começa por ser feito com base em escravos raptados, apanhados em África, são as chamadas razias de escravos, e depois, muito cedo, a coroa portuguesa se verifica a necessidade de transformar esse método de apanhar escravos em África num método mais seguro, num método mais organizado e, portanto, passa-se a vender, comprar escravos em África. A maneira como eles foram separados uns dos outros, os pais, as mães e os filhos. Eles eram obrigados a perder as suas línguas, eles deixavam de poder falar a sua língua, e tinham que falar português.
Aqui as guitarras que nós fazemos é viola clássica e corda de aço para fado. Quando se fala da origem de qualquer estilo musical e a conexão que o fado teve em relação às viagens que os portugueses fizeram daqui para a África e dos africanos da África para cá, da América para o Brasil.
Na sombra de bozudinhos, numa pequena gente.
Nós temos a Rua das Pretas, por exemplo, aqui na cidade de Lisboa temos a Rua das Pretas, que era uma rua que existe ali perto da Avenida da Liberdade, no centro de Lisboa, onde havia muitas casas de mulheres africanas. Temos depois alguns casos efetivamente raros.
I need reliable electricity for my factory here in Nairobi. We make building blocks out of plastic waste, and I employ 20 people. Electricity is great. It gives me light and it keeps food cool in the refrigerator. But our planet is getting hotter and hotter because most of our electricity still comes from fossil fuels. But we don't have to choose between using energy and protecting the planet. So imagine instead a world where every job is based on clean, renewable energy, and where wind and solar are even more abundant, and where energy is affordable and reliable and available to everyone. This might sound like a fantasy, but it's achievable, and we know how to get there. 7 million people die every year because of air pollution, both indoors and outdoors. And fossil fuel produces almost 80% of carbon emissions that are warming our planet. But things are changing quickly. The cost of solar power has plummeted 90% in the last 10 years, and we see solar power everywhere. For example, in India, in Chile, and here in Kenya. We already spend more on renewable energy than on fossil fuel. In fact, a quarter of our electricity comes from renewables. And China is making a huge investment in wind energy, while Denmark is already getting half of its electricity from wind. We are using new technologies all over the world, like smart water heaters, high-efficiency pumps, and electric vehicles powered by renewable energy. To meet the goals of the UN Paris Climate Agreement, more than 190 countries are developing plans to reduce their carbon footprints. Everyone has to show what they are doing to keep global temperatures from rising more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. We know there are big challenges. Coal power has to be phased out, and oil and gas production needs to be greatly reduced wherever possible. We need to invest more so we can develop new sources of energy like green hydrogen. We can all do our bit, so help me spread the word by posting your support of the Paris Agreement and for #ClimateAction.
I still believe in our city. It really is a statement that I'm putting up with these guardians who are strong and resilient and hopeful in the face of these horrible attacks against our community. It is a public art series created in partnership with the New York City Commission on Human Rights to address the anti-Asian bias and hate crimes that have been on the rise as of late. I'm Amanda Pinkpwedipahia. I'm a Brooklyn-based multidisciplinary artist, and my work makes the invisible visible. Today we're in the financial district installing these new panels for I Still Believe in Our City. We see these figures depicted larger than life. And what they do is they lift us up. They hold our community and they say, despite what we've been through as Asian Americans and as New Yorkers, we're still here fighting every day for our shared future. You know, I think what's great is that everybody who passes by these women can see a little bit of themselves.
Yeah. We all have stories from our youth of being subjected to various forms of Asian American racism. We've also seen in the past year kind of powerful movements like the Black Lives Matter movement, where we've been in solidarity and in coalition with different communities throughout the city to fight against anti-Black racism. Now we're talking about anti-Asian racism. New York City, because of its diversity, I think is a city where we want our different communities to be standing up for each other in solidarity.
Physical attacks and verbal assaults against people of Asian descent around the world has increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. The United Nations, since its beginning, has fought against racism and racial discrimination, specifically with Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And the United Nations Office for the High Commissioner for Human Rights is fighting against racism, discrimination, xenophobia, and fighting for minorities and indigenous peoples as well.
Now we are in my installation called May We Know Our Own Strength. This installation is a second body of work that I'm developing in partnership with the New York City Commission on Human Rights. It was inspired by a watershed moment of AAPI youth sharing their stories of sexual assault and gender-based violence. In this installation, I invite all New Yorkers, actually anyone anywhere, to submit through an online portal, mayweknow.nyc, their stories, their sins, secrets, and suffering. And I will take this pooling mass of anger and loss and grief and pain and weave it into hanging paper sculptures into this space. This is a message received yesterday. I am a survivor of sexual abuse. My older male cousin molested me when I was 12. What makes this even more complicated is that he is from the AAPI side of my family, so I often find myself struggling to accept that the source of my connection to this beautiful community also contains my greatest wound. I think this submission is so powerful because, you know, like healing from trauma, there's such a mix of pain and grief, but also hope. Art can be such a powerful way to access your own humanity. I think we see atrocious human rights violations happen because folks have shut the door on their own humanity. Art can really be a way to bring your humanity back home.